Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Animac here from Anime Uproar. Welcome to another episode of the One Piece Virgin. In this episode, we're bringing Punk Hazard to a close, and it was quite the closing. Joining me again today is my boy, Totally Not Mark.
And he's totally sleepy right now. Hi, thanks for having me.
Mac and Mark.
Did you say sleepy? It sounds like you need some Code Briggs.
Get your G Fuel 10% off now.
Damn,
I
Briggs,
couldn't not do it.
This time you got me beat. This time, I can't even self-promote that effectively. Nux and Briggs are here, guys.
Nux and Briggs! What up, boys?
Pleasure to have everyone. I'm excited for this arc. We got some crazy things happening. We got some more bathroom scenes, which was really cool. So, I can't wait to get into it. But before we get into it,
this video is brought to you by the Ridge Wallet, the light, sleek, and industrial wallet that doesn't fold or bulge in your pocket. I honestly love how thin and small this wallet is. You guys know that I'm a Chad, and that means, I got decent sized thighs. Traditional wallets really get in my way and leave a tight bulge in my pocket that is extremely annoying. Ridge is super easy to slide in and out of your pocket. It holds up to 12 cards with extra room for cash, and it's just a great looking wallet overall. There are 30 colors and styles to choose from, including the absolutely chadly aluminum raw and titanium matte black, which are the two that I chose. The Ridge is so durable that each wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. And if you don't believe me on the quality, you can check out their 30,000 5-star reviews. In fact, the Ridge team is so confident that you will love their product that they'll let you test drive it for 45 days. If you don't love it, you can send it back and get a full refund. Check it out for yourself. Go to ridge.com/rant and use the code RANT for a 10% discount right now. They've got free worldwide shipping and returns, and it really is a top tier product. So check it out, visit ridge.com/rantcafe and use code RANT or click the link down below.
just to let you guys know that the Dragon Ball Virgin podcast is happening. It's now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. It's going to be crazy, so definitely check that out.
Anyway, moving on to the wonderful One Piece, the superior story. The Punk Hazard climax, truly a fantastic arc, if I do say so myself. Animec, you're the virgin, take it away.
I thought we agreed that it was just a good arc, but not an amazing arc. But yeah, I think
we
it was.
didn't agree on anything. The discussion starts here.
I think it is a good arc. It is not one of my favorite arcs because it doesn't have quite the emotional impact that many other arcs do, but it was still fun. It builds the world a lot. We got some crazy twists. We saw some new powers, and clearly things are setting up for a crazy, even bigger conflict, because Law in this chapter even says that the whole Paramount War, Marineford, that was all just a prelude to the real war, a bigger war that's coming. So when I read that, I was like, bruh, this is just gonna get crazy eventually.
Yeah, baby. Now, I'm glad you mentioned that because at the end of the day, Punk Hazard is in fact a setup arc. Like
Really?
the climax of this arc isn't like the grand finale, everyone claps, bad guys are vanquished onto the next island. This is a setup for what's to come, and it should be treated that way as well.
Yeah, no, I
see it as the start of whatever Law is trying to do, right?
I think my opinion on it is this, right? So the Water 7 saga has Water 7 as a setup arc, and then it has Enies Lobby then as the climax, so to speak, right? I don't think Punk Hazard is as effective as Water 7 is, but it's still really good. I think the story is super tight, and it has a really, really good swerve at the very end that honestly fucking really took me by surprise. One thing that I think held it back for me personally, I mentioned the video that I made, but it was the paneling. Comparing it to Arlong Park and Alabasta and even Water 7 in some instances, there are parts of it that just seem really cluttered in Punk Hazard that when I looked and turned the page, it was oh, I guess I got a lot of reading to do in this one. And for it being a manga, I didn't think it made full use of its visual medium. And I think we'll get into it later, but there's a certain mechanic that's introduced of swapping minds thanks to Law. But
yes,
I didn't think that was I didn't think that benefited the manga experience anyway, because it kind of made dialogue sequences a bit more confusing, and Oda recognizes that by putting masks on people so that we know who's speaking and whatever, But yeah, no. Overall, I think it's like a really good arc. I think it's a really good story. But I just think, like, for me anyway, the visuals held it back from being like better than it possibly could have been.
Okay, so that's fair. I find that to be a fair argument. As someone that personally doesn't value manga paneling as highly as things like story and plot building and stuff, that didn't necessarily bring down my experience of the arc. But I do understand why visual like representation matters to different people.
Absolutely. But like, yeah, exactly. But like, my argument for that really would be like, if you don't care about visual representation, then why not make it an audiobook? You know what I mean?
I mean, I do think that Mark has a point because, Nux, I agree with you about the storytelling being the most important thing, but I do agree with Mark that at some points I was reading and I was like, okay, so which panel should I be going to next? I was a bit confused, like the page.
Like, talking, all that kind of stuff, like, because, like, again, there's a lot of like mind swapping in this, and you had to keep track of, okay, Sanji's in here, and Nami's in here, and Chopper's in here, and like.
But I didn't find it hard to keep track because Oda's facial expressions. It was so cool how like Chopper's face looked like Frankie's. Like just the grin or the posture of Nami in Sanji, just by posture alone, I knew who it was at all times.
Yeah, no, look, that's really good. I really like again. There's loads to like. Okay, I want to make something clear. There's way more to like in this arc than there is to dislike. It's just that it's like I think Nux mentioned it at the beginning of this like conversation that we're having, but before we went live, is that like it's a fantastic shonen arc, but it's not like the best One Piece arc because One Piece is sort of like a different standard at this point. It's been
I think that's very fair.
And I'm glad you brought up Water 7 because for me personally, Water 7's like the best arc in One Piece. You know, it's definitely the S tier.
It's fantastic,
right? So when you say that Punk Hazard's a setup, it's not as good as Water 7. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I agree. But that
I agree as well.
That Hazard in itself isn't like, I don't know, an 8.5 out of 10 or whatever.
Oda created a setup arc that was on the same level, if not better, than the actual, like, the main, or like the climax arc in his lobby with Water 7. And like, most people see Enies Lobby as one of their favorite arcs in all of One Piece, and the setup arc is literally on par, if not better, and that's just wild to say.
Like, I think like both of them are as good as they are really because of
each other.
Like, they're together. Like I think they're greater together than the sum of their parts, really. But I definitely think Water 7 pulls more weight than Enies Lobby because Enies Lobby really is just like a glorified climax. It's literally just a third arc. Which is fantastic.
Yes, no, I mean, I would say that there are some scenes like getting Robin's backstory and burning down the flag, and like there were a lot of emotionally riveting moments in overall.
True.
Well, I mean, like a climax it usually has all of those things. I'm just saying that like these are all things like Enies Lobby is good because it precedes Water 7. Because there's so much established in Water 7 that's built upon in Enies Lobby. So
yeah, I agree. They go together.
Logic, you could say a very similar thing about Punk Hazard, though. You haven't seen all the ramifications of Punk Hazard.
That's true.
No,
we haven't seen. You guys, especially Animac, has not seen Dressrosa.
Right. You're looking at Water 7 retroactively right now and saying not only is it great, you know, for itself, but also thanks to the amazingness of Water 7, we got Enies Lobby. But at the same time, you haven't seen the ramifications of Punk Hazard, so it's kind of unfair to judge them like this.
No, I agree.
Yeah, so the big thing with Caesar, his whole plan this arc was to create this weapon and showcase it to the entire world. And he had his sludge monster eat a devil fruit, if I'm not mistaken, which was what ended up creating even a bigger mess. And he wanted other people, especially in the New World, to see this weapon because then they would pay him to make this weapon for them so that they can be stronger. And he was basically wanting to start this crazy bidding war based on the weapons that he is creating. And through that, we see a lot of world building and a lot of impact that is definitely going to be felt as we go on with the story, especially in the New World region. Another interesting thing that I saw was that, so obviously Law and Luffy made an alliance, the Straw Hat Pirates and the Law Pirates, which is insane and awesome.
Heart Pirates, bro.
Okay, Heart Pirates, whatever. Yeah, is that Heart Pirate? Yeah. And I'm calling them the Law Pirates, bro.
Well, I could call you a different name as well, but I don't know. I could call you the Animax. You and your brother are the Animax now.
Well, that would be fine with me. My brother probably not.
Team Gozen.
Oh, well, that would be an insult. No, but not only did they make an alliance, also we had Kid, Apu, and Hawkins make an alliance. It was revealed that Kid has a 470 million bounty. So his bounty is even bigger than Luffy, y'all.
Yeah, but his bounty was bigger than Luffy's before anyway, wasn't it?
It was bigger than Luffy's before the time skip, but then Luffy got an extra 100 million.
So, and you know the shit Luffy has done and how much he has angered the world government. So you can only imagine what Kid has been doing.
Well, the thing is that like, wasn't the whole point of Kid that like he didn't do anything nearly as sensationalistic as Luffy did, but he was just way more violent.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is what was explained.
He's
but
more
again,
of a typical pirate.
You gotta be pretty goddamn violent to rack up a bounty like that and not get caught yet.
Exactly. It's like, didn't what's his face, Caribou or something? What's his name?
How dare you insult Caribou like that? One of the greatest anime characters of the modern era. God damn.
Caribou for Straw Hat.
Didn't he have like a really high bounty as well, though, for being violent?
He didn't have that high of a bounty.
I mean, he's also a Logia. Logia is like, if you're a Logia and you're a pirate, you're gonna have a high bounty because they realize like, hey, a normal bounty hunter is not gonna be able to fight you. You need someone with at least the ability to use Haki, which brings you over like 200,000 type of thing, or over 100,000 easy in terms of bounty.
We had cover stories for Caribou, and we
I
can
know Caribou's alive.
We can get those out of the way now. So basically, Caribou gets captured on Fishman Island by Jinbei, and he's thrown into shackles and taken to, I guess, G5, I think it was. So he's captured by the Marines. Then his brother comes to break him out. Caribou uses that as a distraction to escape, leaving his brother behind, like a true, straw hat material guy. And then he ends up like scheming old ladies and scamming them and shit like that. So interesting stuff from our boy Caribou.
Yeah, Caribou is definitely one of the most meticulously crafted characters in the Odaverse.
Odaverse.
I do want to say, in regards to the Alliance, it's also like last week we talked about, because we covered the first half of Punk Hazard, how like Luffy is like overly trusting, and this time we kind of get like a look into like, I believe this one happened in the second half, where a look into like their idea of what Alliance is. Obviously, Laws is more rational. It's more in regards to we're joining together to achieve a common goal, while Luffy's like, yeah, we're friends. which is so Luffy.
And it was so funny because when Law explains what the idea of the Alliance is, they're gonna take down an emperor, and we learn later that emperor is Kaido. Luffy's just like, all right, cool, let's do it. And his crewmates, especially like Usopp's like, what are you thinking? What are you talking? How are we gonna take down an emperor? Are you insane? And he's like, no, yeah, it sounds like fun. Let's go.
I mean, like, he has to do it eventually.
And then Luffy has another line a little later in the arc saying, besides, my plan is to take down all the emperors.
Exactly. But Shanks last. Shanks last, right?
Well, I mean, maybe Mr.
I mean, that would only be like
team goes in.
Yeah, well, Luffy did say that he doesn't want to take on Shanks right now, so I'm assuming he wants to get a lot stronger and impress Shanks first.
This man out here assuming, gotta love it.
I
think the thing is about Luffy is that like he's kind of portrayed as this very innocent and kind of naive character, and I think he is to a large extent. But moreover, I think he's way better. He's way better at judging character than the vast majority of people in the One Piece verse. So.
For some reason, his judgment doesn't get clouded by like shackles to the past. He always tries to view people for what they are at this moment, and he does a genuinely good job.
I think a lot of I love characters like that.
Luffy doesn't judge people by reason in terms of like, let's calculate what this person has done, stuff like that. He kind of just has a gut feeling and he goes by that.
He's got a good instinct, and like I think that instinct oftentimes ends up with him like having a better understanding of the person than they might have of themselves. So that's kind of interesting too.
Yeah, and speaking of Luffy and his absolutely fantastic judge of character, can we just take this moment to appreciate that he clobbered Caesar like 12 times?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Dude, every 2 chapters, he's like, I found you! Bam! Caesar's face is like destroyed. There's no way he could be beaten to more of a pulp than he is now, right? Then Caesar has like some crazy plan that he's manipulating all these different pieces. Luffy's like, found him again! And Caesar's like, oh no!
Bro, low-key, I don't know why, but I love Caesar.
I love Caesar.
And it's so dumb, because having re-looked into this arc, it's like, he's a fucking monster. But I understand, like, he's obviously in a tough situation. He has to, do we know why he has the kids eating candies that are like drugs?
We just know that he's experimenting on them.
Literally, we know that he's experimenting on children, and then we know that he's creating devil fruits as well. These smiles, right?
Yeah, the zone artificial devil fruits.
Exactly. And he's doing all these terrible things, and you're supposed to hate him, but I can't help but love him.
He's a straight up monster, but I think that two of the reasons why we like him so much, Briggs, is one, he reminds us of yours truly. And not that I would, of course, feed drugs to kids ever, okay? I am very...
I dispute that claim, but go on.
Yeah, we leave that to Bradley Martin, don't worry.
Oh, God. Anyway, moving on. And the second reason I think we love him so much is because we have a much deeper glance into his character because we have read more of the story.
Yeah, so far I'm definitely not, I don't love him as a character. He seems
Right.
kind
In
of
this
cool.
arc,
but-
I didn't love Caesar.
Even going back, rewatching this arc, I do love Caesar, but it's
I know,
probably because I'm
really?
clouded by everything else.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a fun character.
There's definitely a lot of stuff that happens in this arc, and I think it's like it's very dense. Like, I think when I was reading this day one, it was like, okay, I felt like I'm like, because it's what I do for a living, it's like, okay, I gotta take notes while I'm going down. But like, if I wasn't taking notes, like I feel like there's so much that's mentioned, like you actually stand to forget it, or at least I would have forgotten a lot of things had I not taken notes. There's so much that happens.
Yeah, thank you, Hooky Wookie, for the 1,000 magical crystals. And also, Hooky Wookie says that it was funny when Virgo kept having like food on his face. That was interesting because Virgo is supposed to be clearly like a serious guy and strong and all this stuff, and then just randomly has like food over his face.
Yeah,
in,
but that's
like the weirdest
typical,
way.
like,
That's very Oda, yeah.
Yeah.
typical humor, you know? It's everywhere. Like there was this scene when Baby 5 and Buffalo were flying in at the end of the arc, and all the Strides were together. They just wiped out like this whole freaking army on Punk Hazard, and they're looking at them and they're like, those guys are enemies, right? And everyone's just like nodding to each other. It's like, all right, just blow them out of the sky.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Law confirmed that they were enemies.
Yes, yeah. No, like these guys are enemies, right? Yeah, they're enemies. Okay.
So
Oda, I can just see Oda sitting there like, okay, I designed this super serious, badass character, Virgo. Let me give him something so stupid and quirky just to like brighten it up a bit. Like,
correct, yeah. I
it's
think,
like
I think
a
that's what
huge
it is.
contrast.
I think things that I liked about him, I don't think he was a particularly deep character on a personal level,
Yeah,
like
no.
on an individual level, but he's a Marine who was definitely, bribed by, and his greed was definitely toyed with to manipulate him to joining a side that really he should be fighting against. And the way they took him down was also kind of cool. I mean, Smoker had to basically sacrifice himself to get the heart back to Law, so Law could chop the goddamn island in half.
Yeah, that was badass.
There's a lot of really kind of interesting moments in this kind of thing, and there's one thing that kind of caught my eye, which was like towards the beginning of it. It was the idea, right, that like, okay, they wouldn't have been able to find this island had they not picked up on the SOS signal, right? And that's really interesting to me. So I was under the impression before that, like, places like islands had their own kind of like pull, and that's what log posts were pointing towards. I didn't think that was something that people could manipulate, but the Navy seems to have access to these islands that aren't pointed to by any log posts, either because their internal poses are in their possession or they're destroyed, or they just don't have anything pointing towards them. And that's really interesting because how many islands are there out there that aren't being pointed to, and the One Piece could be on it? Just gonna put that out there. Like, there could be an island out there that isn't being pointed to by any pose, or might only be pointed to by the world government or one person in the world government, and that could be where like the actual story is, and it ends up going, because anyone can go to any of these islands, but Punk Hazard is the first one where no blog post was pointing towards, and Smoker has it, so that means that the Navy can access it, but no one else can. So
Man,
But
I get it why the
Punk
viewers
Hazard-
love the One Piece versions. Cause I love when like I hear these little interesting ideas from someone who isn't caught up with the story. Like, that's awesome.
But isn't Punk Hazard kind of unique because of everything that went on there, from Dr. Vegapunk's experiments to the duel between Akainu and Kuzan? So, like, I thought it was special. It was sealed off.
Maybe
not
they
like-
chose that island to do these experiments and to have that battle because no pose points there, because it is sealed off from the rest of the world, more or
Well,
less.
yeah, it was a government facility for many years under Dr. Vegapunk, but after that, then after the explosion caused by Caesar, they just abandoned it. And then because it was abandoned, that's why Akiji and Akainu just decided to duke it out there.
Yeah, but my point to what you said, Mark,
That's just a theory, a virgin theory.
my point, Mark, to what you were saying is that maybe there aren't like many islands like that out there. Maybe this was just a unique circumstance.
Yeah, it could be a unique circumstance, but I just think that like it's a little like so like Oda like I feel like this could be an instance where Oda's like showing us the mechanic in sort of a backwards way where the focus isn't necessarily on that particular aspect, but still letting us know that this thing is a thing that can happen. So when it does eventually happen again, we're like, well, that kind of came out of nowhere. No, it didn't come out of nowhere. Why? Because Punk has showed us that it was possible before.
Yeah, that's
what-
true.
what I think.
One thing I did forget to say, guys, is that after this stream, we're going to be playing some Among Us as part of the Rant Cafe crew, and it's going to be live on Rant Cafe. So obviously, if you're listening to the podcast or on YouTube, you're not going to see that. But if you do want to take part in stuff like that in the future, follow us, rantcafe.tv. That links to our Twitch channel, and there we will be doing a lot of cool, fun, interesting stuff on top of the podcast being live and that sort of thing. Now, can I talk about Sanji? Because I actually loved Sanji in this arc. He had a ton of hilarious moments, from like saying that he can hear the sounds of a woman's tears dropping, and that's how he knew to go save Tashigi.
But I mean, it's confirmed that he did. Like, how else would he have known what was going on there if it wasn't for the fact that he heard a tear drop falling?
But
Yeah, defeat Goku confirmed.
Like,
I thought that was just hilarious, and he had a lot of other funny moments where he's really like the Monet fight, and they were like, bro, what if you don't want to hit her? What if she's like going to kill you? Like, you have to defend yourself. He's like, no, I choose death.
Bro, I don't know how Sanji could be such a simp but such a Chad at the same time.
I know,
This
that's what's so
man,
interesting. Yeah,
like,
that's what's so interesting about
his
him.
reasoning was like to go and protect Tashigi in that fight. But then he comes in like such a fucking badass, slams Virgo into the wall, like takes a pull of his cigarette, and then it's like he says it's all for the whammon. And then he even saves a bunch of like the G8 guys, which he had no obligation to.
Yes, Sanji is a simp Chad, and it
Chad.
really is an interesting thing about him. The other thing was, so when Monet, rest in peace, was trying to do the freeze hug to Luffy, like she like hugged him and she's like, I'm gonna freeze you to death and shit. I was thinking if she did that to Sanji, he would just get like even hotter because like, oh, she's hugging me, she's got breasts. Like that would fail miserably if it was against Sanji. I'm saying that right now.
He would have melted her with his blood.
Yes, yes.
Although, speaking of Monet, may she rest in peace. Maybe. Bruh. That scene with Zoro gives me chills.
I watched it today. I watched it today on stream.
You have to watch that scene in the anime.
I had
also.
goosebumps, man.
The Zoro Tashigi versus Monet scene, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, Tashigi didn't exactly like help out a whole lot. It wasn't like, bruh, Tashigi clutched that fight. It was all fixed there. No. The fact that Zoro's line, like, do you expect a wild beast to not, like, destroy his
Were you
prey?
ever sure that a wild beast wouldn't bite?
Yeah, bro.
And the whole setup is that, like, obviously Monet was kind of scared of Zoro, but then she realized that Zoro didn't really want to fight her, didn't want to fight a woman. And then Tashigi goes for the fight instead, and he kind of just takes a seat. And then he comes in, once Tashigi's in a really bad spot, he comes into the fight and actually cuts Monet. And he's like, if you thought you couldn't take me on, you should have run away. Because, and then he comes in with that badass line about a fierce animal that you were sure wouldn't bite.
Yeah, he's not
dude, that's like that scene where Zoro, like, he's past her with like his sword out, the angle like facing the sword, like the cursed blade.
Dude.
And
no, it's very well done.
Melting behind him
with the
like,
with the epic OST going on as well. And like, bruh, so Adamak, I'm sure I don't know if it was spelled out as much in the manga.
No, it wasn't.
But
it was more in the anime.
It was so crazy because the first attack obviously cuts her below her eye and you see her bleed. The second attack, it's like she in this moment thinks she is going to die. There's nothing she could do. She freezes. Her life like passes before her eyes and gets chopped in half. But then you realize that Zoro didn't use any Haki. And she is so scared that she can't even put herself together.
Yes.
This is like top 5 Zoro moments right here.
With her Logia fruit, she couldn't even gather herself together and she just crumbled to nothingness due to her fear alone.
Yeah, because she knew that Zoro in that moment could have killed her and he chose not to because he feels that he's so much above her that he doesn't even need to.
Like, I think
I don't know about that.
I actually love this scene, but I think I liked it for a different reason. So I I think this could be really telling of what Zoro's arc throughout One Piece will eventually be. So Zoro's rival when he was when he was a little kid was someone that struggled with this idea of society, like having a role for this person already. Like she was a girl that wanted to be a warrior, but they didn't like see her as a warrior, and that was sort of her struggle, despite her being someone with a natural aptitude for it, perhaps even more, or like more so than friggin' Zoro even. And he couldn't really understand her plight or understand her at all, but he just kind of got frustrated with it. And I don't think, and I still think he doesn't understand it, specifically because he doesn't treat Monet as a warrior. He doesn't treat Tashigi necessarily as a warrior because he sees himself, a man, as like maybe more than them. And I think his arc eventually will be that like he will see Tashigi as an equal, or not necessarily an equal, but he won't think less of her simply because it's a her, but because like it's a warrior, and that's
I
what
feel
she
like he
is.
already has that mindset.
Yeah, I don't think that he
Really?
was. Yeah, he's
Because
definitely
like,
not like
specifically
Sanji. Like it's definitely different from Sanji because what Zoro was saying is, if I have to, I will definitely fight a woman and I will kill her if I have to. I'll try to not do it if I don't have to do it. Like I won't
Okay.
cut to kill right
Well,
away.
you see in
but-
you see
This is
in
why
his
I think this is a mistake, right?
Go ahead.
This is why I think this was a mistake, and I think I like the way it's structured. It almost tells me that it is. So Zoro pretty much decides in that moment, like you were all pointing out, that like he could have killed her in that moment, but he didn't. He didn't kill her in that moment. But later in the arc, towards the end, Caesar, having the heart in his hand, stabs it, thinking that it's Law's, but or thinking that it's Smoker's, but in actuality, it's Monet's. He didn't know that, but if that specific instance didn't happen, then Zoro would have been single-handedly responsible for everyone on that island being destroyed, because he didn't take out Monet.
But this is the thing. I don't think it's a man-woman issue because I don't think Zoro would have killed a man in that instance either.
Not necessarily a man, but like he would have like incapacitated him like he would anyone else. But he didn't incapacitate her. He just scared her.
But don't you
But
think
I also
that...
feel like it was a little bit out of respect for Tashigi, because it was Tashigi's opponent.
Yeah, and then in the end, he lets Tashigi take her out before he does.
That was absolutely not Tashigi's opponent.
Individual. He definitely values like an honorable duel. Like
exactly.
when he lost to Mihawk in the beginning, like he let Mihawk strike him across his chest. Like
Oh, yeah,
that's kind of his
I
vibe.
have no
He
doubt
wanted
that
to
he
give Tashigi a fair fight, and he wasn't willing to fight Monet, who with like his little finger he could annihilate her and remove her from existence, leaving a mere smudge on the pavement. He was like, "What am I doing here?"
Yeah, but like, again, I don't disagree with
I
anything.
get what you're saying, but
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything that you're saying.
Don't you remember in the backstory when like what's it called? Zoro finally defeats Kuina, or I believe he does. I can't remember if he does, but either way, he was like, don't bring this up. Why are you saying this to me? You were my goal, and now you're saying that like you'll never succeed because you're a woman at being a swordsman. Like, don't say that. Cut the crap, type of thing. So I thought he always had the mindset where like he believed that they had the potential.
Yeah, and I think
like, it really did kind of like strike me as something that was kind of interesting. That like had Caesar, had those circumstances not happened in such an auspicious way, had Caesar not stabbed Monet, Zoro would have been directly responsible for not like.
Well, no, he would have been
say,
indirectly responsible.
I feel like a large purpose of this arc was to show the Marines or like I guess the G5 and Tashigi. Multiple times we see that the Straw Hats are not, just because they're pirates, they're not morally bad people. You see Sanji saves Tashigi and G5. You see Zoro save Tashigi. So like clearly, like they're technically supposed to be enemies, but at the end of the day, like you see that there's like a moral like gray area. I think they were trying to show us that, and they were trying to show the Marines that like clearly these guys aren't inherently completely bad, and we've seen that.
And again,
back in Alabasta as well.
To go back to this Zoro thing, I don't think he treated Monet any differently because she was a woman. I think that was Monet's opinion that he was doing that. That would be Sanji, but that was not Zoro. He used the amount of force that he felt was necessary, but he would have done the same with a man. I don't think he went easy on Monet for being a woman at all.
I think that's maybe where we disagree. I've never seen him do that with a guy before.
So you're saying that Zoro just murders everyone on sight?
No, I'm not saying he murders everyone on sight. He didn't do anything to Monet beyond scratch her in the face.
No, but he allowed Tashigi to take.
No, but she was completely incapacitated by her willpower, his willpower alone.
He did. I remember in Whiskey Peak there was that big Chad woman, and he destroyed her face.
There was also many dudes that he used the dull side of his blade.
Yeah, like Mark, don't you remember that in the final part of that fight when Tashigi lands the blow on Monet, Zoro says, "If you hadn't hit her, I would have." But he let Tashigi take the hit because she was positioned to. But he said, "If you hadn't hit her, I would have done it a second later."
So, like,
Okay.
I have so much to say about this area, being that Zoro is, in fact, my expertise, but I don't want to say it because I'm saving it for a very auspicious video that I am planning. No one understands Zoro because he is, in fact, the deepest character in One Piece, but no one's ready to hear that story right now. So, for now, we move on forward, please.
Okay, I do want to say, though, I loved the Tashigi and Zoro interaction in this scene and in this
If
chapter.
you don't ship Tashigi and Zoro, you
Oh
probably
yeah, bro. I was gonna say, can they please just bang, bro? Can they please just bang?
maybe they did.
I love how Animac wants always wants characters to bang. It's amazing.
You know, Animag's biggest complaint about like Konosuba is that Kazuma doesn't bang anyone.
I mean, yes, it's true, Kazuma, bro. Like, seal the deal, man. Seal the fucking deal, bro.
But speaking of Sanji and Zoro, there was a great panel that I very much appreciated when it's like Sanji's like, charge! And he runs ahead of Zoro, and Zoro's just like, bro, why are you in the lead? How dare you? And they're like, their little rivalry. Whenever the opponents are so low beneath the level of Zoro and Sanji, they just bicker nonstop. And I love it. It's great. It's the little things that in life, you know?
Yeah, I feel you. No, I think Zoro and Sanji's dynamic is like really nice. I think it's one of my favorite dynamics in the series because I'm kind of a sucker for like two guys that kind of like on the surface try to like show that they hate each other or that they're rivals or whatever, but then like they know each other better than anyone else. You know what I mean? It's nice.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I think I learned from this arc as well, or the second part of the arc, is that Haki can definitely kill Logia users, but only if the Haki user is skilled enough. So it's not like a silver bullet against Logia. You have to be a really overpowered Haki user to be able to take down a Logia user, right?
I imagine
suppose
Haki just gives you the ability to actually like touch their their actual form and do damage.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're not strong enough to like beat them in a one-on-one fight, it just kind of evens the playing field a bit. But again, if your Haki if they have armament Haki, for example, or like we see Virgo use, Virgo is legit like it's an embodied armament Haki. Say he was a Logia user as well, for example, it would like you wouldn't be able to touch him regardless.
It could be hard snow.
Hard
Imagine
snow,
that.
bro.
Oh, God.
Hard.
It kind of makes like people who are like have like iron devil fruits or steel devil fruits or like just really hard devil fruits worthless because like you might as well just learn Haki and have a better devil fruit.
And any would learn Haki? I don't think
Yes
anyone
and
would learn
no.
Haki.
Most of them, it's like iron devil fruits doesn't just make them iron. Like, I mean, let's not talk about a certain individual in Dressrosa because that's spoilery, but you can see the potential of devil fruits as more than just what you would assume on surface level.
This is true.
Yeah. I mean, just like Haki can be improved and there's different aspects to it, I think devil fruits are probably the same way.
Like, as a simple example of this, and I will not be spoiling anything, obviously, Doflamingo at the end of the Dressrosa arc, Animac, what did you think his power was until now?
So I wasn't sure, but now it seems to be like some sort of like strings, kind of like a puppeteer, right?
Yeah. So before you may think maybe he can like control people.
Yeah,
That's what I thought. Yeah, you're right. Actually, I thought that he could like somehow control.
because
that's what we've
because of
seen,
that
like-
scene on Jaya.
He would twist people around and make them fight with each other, you know?
Yeah, like Code
And
Geass
now,
shit, bro.
Code Geass tier, bro. No, bro, I love Doflamingo so much. God damn it, I love this man. But one thing that I like very much in this arc, I think for me personally, the reason why I like Punk Hazard as much as I do is purely because of how they built Law up as such a fantastic character and
True.
a force to be reckoned with in One Piece.
I will
yeah.
agree to this because when Law was first introduced and like the whole Marineford thing, I didn't see the appeal of him. Like you guys were implying that he was this great character. Oh shit, we met Law, and I was just kind of like, his hat's stupid, bro. I don't know. But
Then he got a new
in this arc, man, I definitely see the appeal. I see why he's cool, and I see the potential of Luffy and him having this like really cool bromance.
And he
Dude,
has
the way
hat.
he blackmailed Joker to drop his status of Shishibukai?
Yes, I don't know why he did this.
Dude!
But yeah.
Shishibukai. Oh my god. I've never heard it actually because like I read, so it always says Warlord of the Sea. So.
Well,
Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah.
Anyway, no, but it's especially cool. It's such a fantastic idea because if you're not a warlord, you're not protected by the government. Damn it,
Fact.
dude! He put Joker between the ultimate rock and a hard place. That you will now explain, Animax, since you read it and you're the virgin.
Yeah, so what he did was he wants to go after Joker because he wants to get to Kaido. Joker depends on Kaido for almost all of his business because he's the one producing the artificial devil fruits that Kaido is buying because he's creating an army of artificial zone users. So I'm guessing that because I don't know why exactly Law wants to take down Kaido so badly, but this is all part of a plan now that Joker is no longer protected by the government. He can't keep producing those devil fruits without problems. And so it's going to create tension between Kaido and Joker.
A tiny bit of nuance in what you just did. Perhaps.
Well, if you allowed me to finish,
I may be so rude to interrupt you right now.
If you allowed me to finish, maybe I would have had that nuance, Nux.
No, well, you said something wrong. That's why I'm interrupting.
Oh, please tell me what I said wrong.
You said that now, since he doesn't have the world government's protection, he can't produce smiles anymore and stuff.
Well, he can, but not without the government's pressure.
No,
What?
so I think
Oh,
part of
the
what
beauty
Nux is
is-
getting at here is
Yes.
so the first step of the plan is to destroy Caesar and his ability to make these devil fruits, because Joker is the one, or Doflamingo is the one supplying said devil fruits, and if he can't supply stuff, he's gonna make enemies, obviously. And now he doesn't have any protection from the world government. These enemies, now Law and like they could go and take out. Like it's easier to take him out because he's not protected by the world government. But I'd imagine other people could also take him out.
Dude,
Is that what you're getting
there's
at?
So many nuances. It's even more than that, actually, because if you think about it, the second Dofi stops supporting Kaido with these smile fruits, that's the moment Kaido's gonna want to get rid of him.
Well, that's exactly what I said. He's now. I didn't want to spell it out fully, but like he's making if he makes enemies, they're able to attack him easier because he's not connected to the government. Continue.
But it's a double-edged sword, though. He had two options: either he sides with the world government and makes enemies with Kaido, or he sides with Kaido and makes enemies with the world government. He was stuck between the ultimate rock and a hard place. He had to make the tough call to make enemies with a major world power.
Yep.
Yeah. And Law's whole thing was, if you do this, I'll give Caesar back, right?
Caesar's a cute man. Yes, that was the deal. He would trade Caesar.
Yeah, but now the question is he going to actually stick with that deal?
Is he going to follow through?
Because if he gives Caesar back, Dofi can continue supplying Kaido, so Kaido will protect him from the world government, which is now his enemy. It's such a big brain plan. Law was the imposter all along.
Yeah, but what they're doing now is they said they're going to Dressrosa in order to destroy the facility where it was being produced in the first place. So I guess he's saying that even if I give Caesar back to him, I'm still going to fuck him on this other end as well, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I do appreciate the massive fluffy hat that is clearly preciously guarding the massive cranium on Law's head.
I'm not gonna lie though, that hat does make Law look pretty sus.
You know, I got to say, it's a massive upgrade from the weird cowboy hat he wore in. I mean, come on, like it's like a cowboy hat that's like from the height of a cow. It's not cool.
I will say that Law right now seems very cool, and I love this alliance idea. I just don't know if Law maybe will end up being an imposter to Luffy as well at some point.
He also looks remarkably like Luffy without a hat on.
Yes, I noticed that too, like an older brother.
I wouldn't even say older. He just looked like Luffy, but just.
But
angry.
he has some facial hair, I think. So
Does he?
I believe so, right?
Maybe he does. I don't know.
I think he has some chin scruff.
But this is a really cool arc. I want to ask, what was your favorite part of the arc?
My favorite part?
Your favorite fart? That was hilarious.
Well, I will have to say
my favorite part was Caesar, personally.
My favorite part was obviously Robin in the bath.
Bro, no, I mean that Caesar is a
I'm
literal
kidding.
fart. He has the fart devil fruit. It's fantastic.
Robin, what's your name?
No, Robin. So Nami was in the first part of the arc, but then Robin was at the end of the arc. Remember Momonosuke? What was his name?
How could you just do Momonosuke like that?
Okay.
Dude, when Luffy found him, he was this little dragon dude, and Luffy's just like, oh my god, I'm gonna eat him.
Yeah, Momonosuke. Yeah,
Momonosuke.
he was hilarious at the end. So at first, Momonosuke. He was at first, it's like, okay, it's just this kid who was a dragon. Oh, cool. He found his dad. And then later, it's like the kid turns out to be this fucking Chad who ends up sleeping in the same bed as Nami and Robin, taking baths with them and shit. And everyone's like, Momonosuke, how? How did you do it?
Bruh, Shei Momonosuke is not an important character at all and immediately dies. SMH.
I mean, like, the thing is, right, what I think is, like, because, like, Momonosuke is, like, clearly, like, the biggest Chekhov's gun from this entire arc is, like, because realistically, the only thing that impacted this arc because of him was, like, Kinemon and his motivation, but even that then wasn't that important. It's clear that he becomes important later, or the fact that they saved him becomes important later. I'm assuming, because otherwise it would have just been like a gigantic waste of time.
I'm back, Briggs.
Yeah, but so my favorite part, I think, of the arc was the whole ending.
Time
So
for
the
Briggs to
climb-
say, bro, we didn't talk about Momonosuke.
Yeah.
Bro, how can you skip out on Momo? I know, like, Nux isn't a big fan of Kinemon, and neither am I, but Momo,
No, bro, Kinemon's
Momo's a great character. I like him.
Momo's a Chad, bro.
I love Momo, but Kinemon's absolute trash.
Yeah,
I
I liked the climax. I liked the whole the final battle, the Monet thing where she's about to destroy the island but then dies because of the whole heart mix-up that Law had planned.
That one was, like, really fucking good, because, like, that really took me by surprise. I was like, oh my god, that is such big brain. That's so good.
Yes, I thought that was really good. I liked even when the assassins come. First of all, we have Baby Five, who is like the female Sanji, which was absolutely freaking hilarious. And we have the other guy, Buffalo. And then they seem pretty powerful, right? They're fighting
They
against
have the greatest devil fruits ever. It's like, when will it stop getting weirder? Baby 5 pulls out RPG.
Yeah, so they're fighting against Mecha Frankie, who is, by the way, really overpowered.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
heads
kind of
up.
the point, though, because of Dr. Vega.
That's why we all know him now as Tengen Toppa Gurren Frankie.
Yeah,
And, like,
I mean,
Dr. Vegapunk's also a guy that we've heard his name probably mentioned more than Luffy has in the entire series, like, and we still haven't seen him.
yeah. And Frankie has that calming energy, I will say. But then it's funny because it's almost like Oda realized that Usopp and Nami didn't really do much in this arc, because then at the end, it's them two who take out Buffalo, Caesar, who is injured, and Baby Five, and they do it in a really cool way. I like that attack that they had, like, was like a combo move. But it's funny because the two of them are like, yeah, whenever the enemies have their backs turned, they have no will to fight, we're gonna kick their ass.
Like the real Chads, they are.
Hey, respect, man, respect.
Now, the Yeti brothers were the best part of the arc, to be honest.
Oh,
Let's be real.
like it's not even, they're not even meme worthy. Okay, screw those guys.
I thought they were clever.
No.
Like, they actually used the Straw Hats as bait for the other Straw Hats. That was I thought it was good.
Man.
You know what's,
Yeah, all in all,
you know what's amazing
have to
about
say-
One Piece?
Law shone really, really bright this arc.
Yeah, oh, 100%.
Yeah, he did for sure. And I
Well, we-
loved, like I said, the Kuzan showing up randomly, but not randomly.
Dude,
And-
that scene's so powerful.
Yeah, when he stops Doflamingo from killing Smoker,
He
and
doesn't
then
just stop him, he freezes him. He ice
Yeah.
times his ass.
yeah, and Doflamingo, like, first, like, right now it's established that Doflamingo is obviously really strong. So you're like, oh shit, is Kuzan even on his level? Like, what's going on? But then Kuzan kind of like slightly outclasses him. Like, he doesn't crush him, but he's kind of like, yeah, you better think twice, Dofi. You better think twice.
He beat Dofi as quickly as he beat Luffy before the time skip. Dofi was nothing to this man.
Yeah, but he didn't crush him, right? He just warned him, and Dofi took the warning and is like, yeah, cool.
I think there's something to be said for, like, the positioning of this particular altercation, because
That's true.
Doflamingo was, like, looking away from him. He wasn't actually trying to attack him.
It's true.
That's true. No, I wouldn't say that necessarily who would win in a straight up fight, but it does definitely imply that Kuzan not only is substantially stronger, but that Doflamingo is willing to completely take the L and run.
Oh, yeah, no,
the
he's
next
going to
way.
comply. Like, he knows that he would lose.
Well,
yeah, and that
at the end
I
of the
thought that was
day,
really
like-
interesting because Doflamingo was built up like this mastermind and he's really strong, but even to him, Kuzan is not a laughing matter.
That's another thing I love about Doflamingo as a character, though. I don't always love it when some built-up antagonist is the strongest character. Like, sometimes Big Brain pulls weight. Dofi's no slouch. He's definitely a badass. He's a powerhouse. But he's not the strongest character in the world. He's scared shitless of Kuzan and especially Kaido. You know?
You know what? Interesting because he has motivations to kind of I mean, okay, realistically, if you have a bad guy who is all powerful, then there really only is one course of action, and that's kind of uninteresting because it's just brute force approach. But he needs to be a bit more delicate and subtle about it. He has to kind of he has to tickle the balls of the story in order for things to go well. You know what I mean?
Well, is that an Irish thing? An Irish thing?
I don't know. I just made up on the fly. Could you tell?
I love how Oda has been able to maintain this presence of what an admiral is and how powerful they are from the first time they've been shown until all the way now, however many chapters later.
Wait a second, Kuzan's an admiral?
He was.
Well, former.
He was? What's he doing there? We don't know.
Well,
It's
Smoker's
great.
his friend. I wonder if Kuzan knew.
Obviously, he didn't come all the way. It's like, bro, I wonder what Smoker's doing these days.
Yeah, no, yeah. It was heavily implied that Kuzan was there for a reason,
Yes,
but we
of
don't know
course.
what that reason is.
Nah, it's for he's a bro, man. He's there for his nakama.
Bro, man.
And I wouldn't say Nux. I wouldn't say that
Nothing
Dofi
really
was
icy
actually.
about it.
I wouldn't say that Dofi was scared of Kuzan. He was just he's smart enough to know this would be a bad idea.
This man is sharp as nails.
Can I just say, I was about to say this earlier. I love how for these One Piece podcasts, for other podcasts, you would think a lot of times you'd be talking about the main fight, the main antagonist. There's so much going on in One Piece. We legit didn't even talk about Luffy versus Caesar, or very vaguely.
I will
That
say
wasn't
that
really a fight.
Luffy was
Wasn't a fight, yeah.
he was dominant. Basically, he saw Caesar mistreating his men and willing to sacrifice them, and he was like, "Fuck this!" And he just absolutely smashed him,
Yeah,
and that
to be
was very
fair,
satisfying. I will say, man,
funniest thing
some of Luffy's punches are in general so satisfying, bro. They're
Yeah.
just they bring that catharsis that you need to an arc.
Beauty is Caesar's so smug, and he took 12 L's in this arc.
He really
It's
did.
and then he comes back with his even bigger, more grandiose plan that's sure to not fail. And then Luffy just slaps him again. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
To be fair, yeah, I don't think the actual fight itself was anything too spectacular. I mean, I think King Wapple probably gave Luffy a bigger fight than Caesar.
Which is so
Caesar's
sad
great.
because Caesar's
He's not
devil fruit
manhandled.
is so overpowered.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Caesar's
be
not
fair,
a fighter, though.
He's not a fighter.
scientist.
to be fair though, Caesar did defeat Luffy initially in the arc.
That's true.
Yes. I just like the fact that clearly this wasn't the fight wasn't the big part of this arc. And I love the fact we could have a full shonen arc where the important part isn't the main battle. It's everything
Yeah,
else going
all
on in the
about-
world.
All about the brain.
It's all
It
about
was
the brain.
It was
What
about
are the things-
politics, and it was about this one guy, Raph's Revenge, who said in the chat, Luffy smashed Caesar like a JoJo's doggo.
Now that we say it, Oda's pretty sus.
Oda's pretty sus.
But no, I will say that I like this. I don't want everything to be on a dependent on one big battle, and it's all about the bells and whistles. I like the storytelling more, and sure, there should be battles, but I like the fact when there's multiple battles or team battles, or it doesn't have to be this the main guy versus the main bad guy.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think that's more One Piece's speed as well. I think if it did that, that might be a bit weird. But
Yeah, unlike Dragon Ball, which that is pretty much what it always ends up with.
Yeah,
main
yeah,
bad
yeah.
guy versus Goku. He beats Goku, then versus Vegeta, then he beats Vegeta, and then Goku gets mad, and then Goku beats him.
I think they both work in different ways, and they both work for different stories. I think if Dragon Ball did what One Piece does in having multiple things happening at once, I just don't think it would be as effective at being what it's trying to be. But one thing that I this is kind of a tangent now, but one thing that I've been trying to figure out now, because I'm really interested to know, because these devil fruit abilities prop up and propagate the entire world of One Piece, and they're all as Nux pointed out, more extravagant and more ludicrous than the last, right? When did Caesar find this? Where do these things grow? Do they just grow in random trees?
I think we were given an explanation during this arc, were we not? Or is it in a future arc that we're given an explanation?
Well, for the artificial ones, or
No, for the real ones.
Oh, don't spoil it.
I didn't say
No,
that. I was
I
asking
don't
if we were
think-
given an explanation. I don't spoil.
Have the
I mean, you should sort of know, though, Senor Mark.
I don't, not yet.
Don't say anything. I swear it's something's explained soon, at least. Anyway,
yeah, I don't
whatever.
know. I just know that the artificial ones were obviously explained, and we saw that Momonosuke, he ate a devil fruit that made him into a dragon that was also artificial, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that one was artificial, and then also, so that was the artificial zone they were talking about.
That's what I'm kind of interested in. That like I think that's going to be the most interesting thing because, like I forget now where did I fucking learn this piece of information? It's like the kind of like the mechanics of the fucking fake devil fruits. Was that explained in this arc? I can't remember.
It wasn't. It wasn't because I don't know it yet. So
Dragon Ball.
Actually,
Yeah.
so Mark, apparently you should know the mechanics of the
Mark should
real
know.
ones. It's a Star Dress Rosa. Don't say anything.
okay, we'll just drop it.
We'll
for
just drop
now.
it, but you should
We'll talk
know.
about it next week. Nox, I think you'll agree that both Dragon Ball and One Piece are on the exact same tier of quality, right?
Well, I think that Dragon Ball is probably the worst mainstream long-running shonen of all time, and One Piece is probably the best. So yeah, pretty equivalent. Yeah, I'd say.
I think Dragon Ball looks prettier.
I don't know,
You're
man.
not
Have you
defending that
seen?
point at all?
Have you seen the bath scenes of both Nami and Robin in this, bro?
Dude, have
The-
you seen the like? It's true the paneling is better in Dragon Ball, but when it comes to One Piece,
Way
just like
better.
when they enter Water 7 and you see that city in front of them, that's like breathtaking.
I know, like One Piece has like amazing moments. I think one of my favorite panels actually is in Jaya when they just get into the town and you can see the kind of lush jungle like, encroaching upon the actual town that's been established there. That's fucking gorgeous. But the thing is that like I wouldn't get tired reading Dragon Ball, whereas I would get tired reading One Piece because it's very involved in terms of making you like look for the information.
Well,
Which
at
is
the,
sort of
at the end of the day, like because the stories are so different. Obviously, Dragon Ball is much more simplistic that they're able to go for a simplistic art style and panels. While One Piece is so much more complicated with so much information and so much things going on that it ends up being cluttered a lot of the times. And sometimes it's jarring, but sometimes it's so well done when you have all this detail and all this nuance in the background that I honestly love.
Yeah, bro.
No, I think it's really good. I think in a nutshell, they're kind of incompatible in terms of being compared. Like, but if you were to try to compare them, One Piece has a much more complicated and much more detailed and well executed story than Dragon Ball does. But Dragon Ball tries to be more simplistic. But the paneling and artist and like artwork paneling and stuff is
It's
like,
more of like what a shonen, like a typical shonen, what you think of shonen is when you look at Dragon Ball. Because Dragon Ball, like the fights are genuinely like really well done a lot of the times, and you're there for the hype fights. One Piece, you're not here for the hype fights. They're completely different goals.
Yo, can we on this topic? Can we agree that Robin was looking damn fine in this arc?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Robin was looking good.
I like
Also,
Robin.
fun fact: Kaido is a duck. Oh my god, I spoiled the entire series. Fuck.
Also, even funner fact, speaking of great paneling in manga, I'm sending you the best page in the history of manga.
But he's gonna do the Hunter x Hunter thing, isn't he?
Yep, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Also,
that real?
Chopper did did
that's
some
real.
stuff this arc, guys. Chopper did some stuff. He sedated a bunch of kids and stuff. Like he did
That's
stuff.
so lazy. That is so lazy. Oh my god.
Yeah, this is a real page from a real manga, and one of the best manga ever written. Yes.
What is it from?
Where'd you send it?
Hunter x Hunter.
Oh wow. Oh, God.
You want to see it, guys? I'm sure I've shown it to you before.
If I turned the page and saw that, I'd probably put down the manga.
Dude, this is rough. I just sent it to your Twitter also, Briggs.
Oh, thank you. The superior.
Yeah, I
platform.
know, Nox. We've all seen it.
I've showed it on stream a few times.
It's legendary.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
the greatest panel of all time.
But anyway, I think
The
before.
absolute sac-
So, guys, do we have anything else to talk about? Like, we need to say the chapters for next week, right?
Oh, that's right. Okay, so the Dress Rosa arc is 100 chapters. You want to do it in 3 parts or 4 parts, Anime?
Probably 4, man, because I do have a lot of other stuff I have going on during the week.
So, I mean, it starts at 700, it goes to 801. I guess we could do 7 to 725.
I'd say you want to pick somewhere natural to stop.
All right, let me go to 725. Let's see if there's something natural there.
I'm gonna have a look too. I'm gonna try to help you.
All right, guys. Definitely, we pre-planned this podcast.
Yes.
Very professional. Very professional.
What I was thinking, an idea I want to put up here, is that we take a week break for the One Piece podcast. We still do something like a tier list, a One Piece discussion, something general One Piece, and we read 50 chapters. I feel like if we break it into like 3 parts, it might be a little bit better.
Honestly, 725 is not even a bad place to start.
It works? Then I'm down for it.
7:30 is
7:31.
no 7:30 is the better place to stop.
Let me look. Including reading 730 or not?
including reading 730, like ending on 730, I think was like
that's a great place to stop. But Animac wanted 25, not 30 chapters.
I think 30 is fine, Animac. Just do it.
Yeah, Animac, just be a man, read it.
Fine. But yeah, so the thing is, people are never happy. Sometimes people are like, you guys read too slow. Other people are like, you guys read too fast. I'm not caught up. And I also
don't even start. I'm like, yeah, no, I totally.
Everyone's saying 731. Honestly, I think 731.
Wait,
I think 731.
Is 730 the one that I think it is? 1 second.
the point is though, like with all the other stuff we all have going on, multiple podcasts and my main channel videos that I do every week, multiple videos, it kind of can get difficult to read.
Like, tell me about it, man. I'd hate to be a guy that uploads a video like 3 times a week, man. That'd be rough.
Yeah, I know. Like because you definitely reread all these chapters, right, Nux?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
As proof, I send screenshots in our Discord of all the coolest panels in the whole art.
He reads them while we talk.
Yeah.
He legit reads them and sends us screenshots during the podcast.
And yet manages to interrupt anyway.
Big brain. Brain is large.
I can do it all.
I will say
So
that's better
Do
than
we
me.
have
I just watch
do we have a
clips.
consensus on where we stop for next week,
Yeah, 731.
731.
Read it.
including 731?
Including
Yes.
731.
Okay, so we have 700 to 731 for next week, guys. Thank you for joining us. Anything else we need to say about Punk Hazard before we end this episode and play some Among Us on our Twitch channel?
I will not be joining you for Among Us this time, unfortunately.
This is
But,
so sad.
Sorry, brother. I'm hoping to stream later tonight.
Well, if you can't make it, that does mean that Mark can. There's a spot that opens up. 'Cause we had 10 guys, and I felt so bad 'cause I didn't know Mark was coming to One Piece Virgin today, and I invited 10 people. But now the spot's open if you want to play.
I can play for like an hour, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Hell
it.
yeah!
All right, thank you guys for joining us for the One Piece Virgin. Obviously, if you like it, share it with your friends, spread the word, and share it, social media, all that type of stuff. It helps us a lot. If you also leave a review, positive review, that helps us too. And thank you to Mark for joining us so many weeks and being here and giving us his time and all his vast knowledge and all that other cool stuff. Mark.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, now I know you're lying.
Mark!
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Mark. We love you. You are a beloved guest and great guy. And also we got Nux.
Why did
and
you
Briggs.
pause? What was that about?
Man, Animac, you're sus, bro.
Yes, I'm doing all of this. I'm doing all of this in preparation for Mark to feel bad about ever accusing me when we play. Yes, you guys got me, damn it. Nux and Briggs.
Nugs and Briggs.
Use code Briggs to buy G Fuel. Bye, I'm out.
Until next time, see you, Space Cowboys.
Bang.